We are basically now, phase 5, by the way, 5.5 years into the process, right? And we are playing a number 6 or number 8, how you look at it, at striker. And ironically enough, he has better finishing than our attackers. That's also is kind of weird, isn't it? It's like the team has been built as backwards. Because our defenders and midfielders, excluding Odegaard, let's be real, and Rice to some extent, have better finishing than our attackers. Because I can guarantee you that much, that if it was Havertz in Merino's position, at least one of those chances don't go into the back of the net, 100%. As much as I hate to basically diss Havertz when he's not playing, but we have seen that story before and it hasn't been pretty. Let's just say it as it is. So yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. So only time will tell how that will develop. Will Merino now start every single game as a number 9? God knows. Because if we start Merino as a 9, it kind of hampers and hinders our chances in midfield subs, let's be real, because then we have only Jorginho. So it's basically you gain something and you lose something. Arguably our attack is more desperate for some players than our midfield, but at the same time we play a midfielder as a number 9. That is desperation already to the maximum extent. After 800 million spent, being phase 5.5 years into the process and everything, we are forced to play a number 6 as a striker. That genuinely cannot fly. No big club operates like that. You wouldn't ask Bayern Munich to play Paulinho as a striker. You wouldn't ask basically City to play Rodri as a striker. You have to take that into account as well. And to a massive extent, Arteta had an issue, and again, he lucked out. He randomly subbed on Merino and it worked to a charm. He arguably is the luckiest manager in the world because he lucked out with the FA Cup and Aubameyang, which gave him at least 2 more years. He then got the new contract on that premises. Then Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka saves his career. He lucks out then. He lucked out with the fact that Ben White was useless as a center back when he just signed him, so he pushed him out at right back, which left a gap in the center back spot, which meant Saliba he could not loan out anymore, so he had to play Saliba as a center back now, and he doubly lucked out in that regard because Ben White is actually decent as a right back, and Saliba just grew up as being a phenomenal center back to that extent. And then we just fast forward year after year after year, and then he lucks out with Saka and everything. It's just all over the place how lucky this manager can be to a certain extent. Because obviously luck favors the strongest. Without luck there is no titles, no championships, no achievements to a certain extent. But the amount of lucks, the amount of lives this manager has, it's like a cat. Cat has 9 lives, and it feels like Arteta has 9 lives as well. That's how it feels like, but hey, it is what it is. Exactly, bro just took a gamble and it paid off. It's just like basically hitting slot machine. It just rolls, and on random time you just hit the jackpot. Not jackpot, maybe you hit something. Because how comes many times when we sign these players, they don't excel in the specific position they have been signed to play in, but they excel in a completely different position. Because Merino was signed as a midfielder, but his best performance to date has been at striker. We signed Ben White to be a center back. His best performances is at right back. Right? Havertz, Arteta's words himself, signed as a midfielder, yet his best performances have been as a number 9. How does that even work? You sign a player who does... Our best left back is a midfielder. Like, it makes 0 sense, but on some level it actually works. It's a madness, but sometimes chaos is something you need, and it works to a charm. It's somehow very weird. How much was that luck? Quite a bit. Quite a bit. Obviously, putting him on up top, big up balls by the way. Putting Merino up top, let's be real, made sense to a certain extent. Because for the last, 2 months, we've been saying this. If the plan A doesn't work for Arsenal and Arteta, he doesn't have a plan B. So what do we result to? Crossing the ball. First biggest glimpses were against Inter Milan with 46 crosses. And in the recent times we do it as well. And in that instance, if we tend to do that, putting up a 6'4", 6'3", 6'5" type of guy to get to the end of the cross seems like the logical solution at the end of the day. We were saying Gabriel, Calafiori was being thrown around and we put Merino up top. So it standed to the massive point, Arsenal as well, they used to have Giroud. Although when we used to have Giroud, we did the complete opposite. When we had Giroud up top, We played tiki-taka. We subbed off Giroud, we put Volkot up top. We start to cross the ball. This time we did it the right way, and to some extent, yeah, phenomenal. 2 shots, 2 on goal. 2 goals. Yeah, our fan base is losing it again. They're going wild. They genuinely are going wild. Party needs some rest. Yeah, we need some rest. I think Jorginho or Merino or Declan Rice even as a 6, we will see this quite soon, I think. Merino isn't the answer for our front line, but he deserves... Yeah, that is the case. He's not the answer long term, but to have a temporary fix, if it works, it's cool. Because it was the same thing with corners. We were scoring corners and set pieces at alarming rate. Have you noticed that in the last, 5, 6, 7, maybe even the last 10 games, we haven't scored even 1 corner? We barely have had a proper chance from a corner. They all get figured out, they all get defended. And for Merino, he can be on a cross, he can get to the ball. He doesn't have the best technical ability. He has a decent shot on him, I'm gonna give him that. But his turning range, his ability to be agile and swift on the ball is not there. So being a striker is not suited for him per se. But as a temporary solution, just to whacking crosses, for him it works like a charm. Let's be real. It works like a charm. AFTV saying Merino is good enough to be our out-and-out number 9. Oh, dude, they are deluded as fuck. I'm sorry. For Merino to be our out-and-out number 9, it's just stupidity to the maximum extent. I can see this being a temporary fix, right? Until the end of the season or until summer or however, or he decides to play Martinelli at striker once he comes back from injury. I can see it being a temporary fix. Maybe even if he doesn't start as a substitution to have an option there. I can see that. But to be an out-and-out striker long-term, that is one of the dumbest things I have heard from top Gunners in the recent times. I'm not gonna lie. One of the dumbest things I've heard. I said before, the game Merino is basically slow Havertz. To be honest, Merino can finish. I think Havertz in those spots misses at least one of those chances. I'm not gonna lie. We have seen it before. Let's not forget. Yeah, bigger BBK. Bigger BBK, my guy. Yeah, that was a big tackle. The far cross to the far corner and that last ditch tackle from Skelly, that was fantastic to keep it nil still at the time. Yeah, big up. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new around here. Subscribe to BBK Sports. Fantastic content on his channel as well. If you haven't already, go subscribe to him as well. Kid you not, today's stats for the game. Raheem Shillings for today's game. 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 out of 3 dribbles completed, 0.02 xg, 0.06 xa, 0 crosses, no ground duels won, 2 offsides. This is the guy who apparently we haven't seen the best of as of yet. This is the guy. Let's be real, Arsenal pay 100 grand of his wages. Rest of it is being paid by Chelsea, right? He's on goddamn 300 plus grand, if not for even nearly 400 grand a week at Chelsea. And to make matters worse, in a month we play against Chelsea, and he still cannot play against Chelsea, which means we don't have actually a third forward for that game. Think about it. Because Martinelli is not going to be back in time for Chelsea game, Saka is not going to be back, Havertz is not playing, Jesus is not playing. So ultimately, by the time we play Chelsea, we will have Trossard and Ranieri, that's it. So what we gonna do, play, Tierney as a left wing? Or what? What we gonna do then? Or against Chelsea, we actually gonna do this. Against Chelsea, I actually can see Trossard on the left, Ranieri on the right, and Merino as a number 9 as starting forward attack for our team. Because only we have 3 forwards in our team, and one of them is ineligible due to loan rules. So I actually, for that game, I can actually see Raheem Shillings to start. But I must say, that has been a waste of a loan. 100% waste of loan. Tierney as a left wing, that's the other option. Trossard down the middle, Ranieri right, and Tierney left. That's the other option. Ultimately, there's not many options. Yeah, it would be nice to see Butler or Udeji. The thing about him is, though, he hasn't kicked the ball for Arsenal like ever. He hasn't had 1 single second in Arsenal's main squad still. And he's 22 right now. So he most likely is going to be let go for free, by the way. So that is also a big issue. Yeah, Sterling arguably is the worst loan Arsenal have ever done. That is on the same levels as signing Kim Kallstrom on loan with a broken back. If not worse. Let's be real. Two of the worst loan deals Arsenal have ever made. Sterling and Kim Kallstrom.